Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever this video finds you. I hope you're having a rad time. I'm the Figure Dude, and on today's custom figure review, I'm going to take a look at a long wanted piece in my collection, Buff the Stuff Bagwell. Without further ado, let's talk about some figures. Dude. We are back with one of the favorite customs I have in my collection, Buff Bagwell. As a kid, I thought Buff Bagwell was so cool, and I mean, honestly, I don't know why. He is regularly regarded as one of the reasons that WCW disappeared when Vince McMahon bought them. When he went out, he had a match with Booker T. It was not great. You could tell he's out of shape. He hadn't been doing anything. He's blown up minutes into the match. And he is often credited with being the reason that they decided to scrap WCW. But as a kid, I thought it was awesome. I thought it was awesome to see him in WWE for a whole match. Literally like one episode. Maybe it was two. I can't remember. I know he gets kicked out. They like throw him out of the building, and that was basically the end of Buff Bagwell. But anyway, I was excited to add him to my WCW collection. I really didn't think I could have a WCW collection without Buff Bagwell. And the head scan for this. So I made this quite a while ago, and I hadn't used any head scans before. I'd never bought head scans. I'd never really painted head scans. It's taken me a bit, and I'm still not great, but I didn't paint a lot of skin tones on my figures because I feel like I didn't match them up very well, so I didn't like to do that. So I wanted this Jakks head scan. I think it's a really good head scan. It's a good likeness. It's a pretty good fit as far as the size. And if you've ever tried to get this Buff Bagwell figure, it's from the deluxe figure and close to the same attire. But if you've ever tried to get your hands on it, it is pretty pricey. And I didn't want to pay, I mean, a lot of them you were looking at like 60, 70-ish maybe to get this figure, and I didn't want to pay that much for head scan. My wife would have looked at me and said, "What in the hell are you doing?" And rightfully so. But I got this, and I don't remember exactly. I want to say I like got it in a lot on eBay, where of course I get a lot of stuff in lots, but I kind of came across it accidentally, and that's the best when you can find a lot that's got something rare in it and it's going for a decent price. Which I got this for a decent price. Literally the moment I hit sold on eBay, I started working on this custom. And this was also really before, like, this was in the first batch of customs that I did with decals from Curbstomp, where I started using decals again. So the application for them is decent, but at this point I can do better. So I mean, I always say this. I always say I might go back and touch things up, and a lot of the times I do. I'm more critical of my customs than I need to be, probably, but there's always a little something that I look at and think, oh, I can make this a little better. So I'm going to go through it, and I know last week I didn't pick up the Spirit Squad members and go through them all together. They were all just about the same, with just some minor differences. Not a ton of detail in them either, so I didn't want to go through all those. It would have taken me 30 minutes, and I don't think we need to review the Spirit Squad for 30 minutes. So we are going to take a closer look at Buff Bagwell here. So like I said, Jakks head scan, great head scan. I think the likeness is spot on. I think it's a good characterization of Buff Bagwell. On this side we have see if we can zoom in. There we go. So you can see it, like, some of it came off. It says Buff Daddy. We got a lady on his tights. For his boots, I use a kick pad upper, and then the actual boot part is from a pair of Undertaker boots, because he wore like huge boots that had like covers on them, so he didn't necessarily wear kick pads, but this kind of looks like the boots that he had. It says Buff on the side. So then this is one, so I said I didn't use decals. The Buff on the side here I painted all of that myself. That is not a decal at all. That's all hand painted. Um, and it took me a while. When I did it, I like did it all in yellow first, and then I outlined it in white. Then I put in the like red fade. It took me a really long time. So then by the time I got to everything else, I was like, screw this, I'm getting decals. So that's kind of how I ended up getting decals again. I got decals for the boots, which I had painted, but I didn't love it. So I got the boot design decals, finished up this custom. Here's his tattoos even on here. And we've talked about the clear tattoos. They go on really well. And I mean, you can barely tell, just looking at that, you can barely tell that the decal is a tattoo. It's nice and flush in there. It comes together really well. I like the part choices. I think I just use like a Triple H torso. I use some of the, like not the Stone Cold figure, but the Ringmaster figure that has those larger thighs. I forget what other elites come with those, but I used those bigger thighs. Obviously just painted them red, used some kick pads with the normal kick pad lower legs, and then the arms are from a Bobby Roode figure, I believe. But yeah, I mean, looking at it, it's a pretty simple formula. It was just a matter of tracking down the head scan, and I know that there's a lot of people. I say a lot. There's like 4 or 5 accounts I follow on Instagram that do fantastic head scans, and I can't think of who exactly did some, but I know I've seen some that have his hat on them. He's got his hat and his sunglasses that look really, really good. So that's probably a better avenue as opposed to trying to track down this Jack's head, unless you get lucky like I did. But I think he looks great. He looks fantastic up next to the rest of my WCW collection, and he's one I'm excited to have. So that's going to wrap up today's custom review. Next week, I was going to say next week we're going to get into more WCW, but I lied. Sorry about that. Next week will probably be more Ruthless Aggression, because that's my favorite era, and I just have a ton of Ruthless Aggression customs that I want to talk about. So, I will see you later. Please like, share, subscribe, all that business. And remember, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy figures. Figure Dude out.